Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Today I am looking at the DC Collectible 2-pack Flash and Arrow figures. Now, I know when I first saw this, I was definitely interested in it. Every time I would see a picture of it. I never really saw one in store until the first time. The other day we were at Books of a Million and I saw this. And the price was kind of, it had come down from what they wanted when it first came out, so I went ahead and picked it up. So this is the packaging. It's kind of just like the other ones, but just a little bit bigger. You get this open window. You got, the Flash and Arrow on the side here. This is falling out, but I've already opened these guys. You get the Flash, you get the Arrow, you got DC Collectibles, you got the choking stuff, you got nothing on the bottom, got Flash and Arrow on top. Get a picture of them on the side, Flash and Arrow, and then on the other side you just get this continuous open window here that says Flash and Arrow again. And then on the back it shows you product shots of the two figures, and then it says also available. You get 7, 8, and 9 of the line, and I honestly have never even heard of these figures. So that just shows you how much I know. I guess these are probably more or less maybe comic book characters, but I've never heard of any of these people. But yeah, let's open this up and see what it's all about. Okay, so here they are out of the packaging, and there are some issues with this 2-pack. Overall they look good, but there are some issues. But these are the accessories that it comes with. The Flash has an alternate head, which has him masked, and it does look pretty good. Got some nice detail on there, nice paint, very cool. And then Flash just comes with the fist that he has on him, and he comes with 2 other sets of hands, these which are kind of like running hands. Sorry, trying to get the focus, there we go. But there's a little bit of detail on these, a little bit of, material look to them. And then he has these 2 hands, which are kind of like, I don't know, a little bit opened. Not actually like grabbing anything, but just kind of like, I guess, normal relaxed hands. And then the Green Lantern comes with the bow, which, looks nice. It's got some nice details on it. Be careful about these little parts right here, because these little pieces right here actually do come off. There's like 4 of them right there, and then right there and there. And yeah, you see they come off pretty easily. And when I was taking it out of the package, I actually tried taking it out of the package from grabbing on this, and it popped off, and it took me forever to find that piece. And this one doesn't really want to go back in there very well for some reason. There it goes. I heard it snap that time. But you get this nice little, nylon string. It doesn't have like a huge amount of paint details. It's basically just molded in this green with some of these black components painted. But nice looking. Then he comes with a pair of fists, which he came with came on the figure in the package, but you get some nice little details in there. And then you get these kind of like, I don't know, arrow grabbing hands. You can kind of see that the 2 fingers there are kind of like for pulling the string back, even though that does not work at all. And then you get this other one, which is kind of like an arrow grabbing hand as well, but nice little detail on there, little green paint on that. And then he also comes with this set, which is again looks like some kind of arrow or holding hand or string holding hand. And then you get this also, which is like to grip his bow. And then he comes with 3 arrows. You got this one right here, and they're just kind of cheap plastic. They're a little bit warped, but there is some detail on there. Nice little silver paint. Then you get the little green feather things down here. You get this one that kind of is like a regular tip on it. Again, kind of sloppy paint work in there. Some of the black's bleeding off on, and you see how warped it is. And then you get this one, which I guess is like a exploding one or something like that. Alright, so that is the accessories. So not a bad little array of accessories. Take a look at the figures. Let's start with the Flash, because he's kind of like the worst one out of the two. But taking a look at the Flash, you see that this is the head sculpt that comes on it. It's not too bad. But I mean, you get a kind of decent likeness to the actor. But there is some different shading in the hair, and the skin tone is good. The eyes are painted, looking in the same direction and all. And the suit I like. I do like the suit. I like all the sculpted wrinkles and everything, and the paint, and the little Flash emblem. Which is one reason why I got the 2-pack, because I do not have a Flash in this scale in this suit. Even though I don't really watch the show or anything, it is a cool looking suit. But you see, you get all these nice wrinkles all the way throughout the entire costume. You get a little bit of paint detail down on the shoes. You get these nice little, highlighted parts painted in gold. You get some nice texturing up on the upper part of the suit that you don't really get on the bottom part. But yeah, I mean, nice looking figure, not too bad. It's got a decent kind of, it's got that long, lean look to it. And I'm guessing that this is just his mask kind of folded down, because when you change the heads, I believe you take this off. So I'm guessing this is just the unmasked version with the mask kind of just hanging to the back. But very, very cool. Very cool looking figure. Now, as far as articulation, this is where it gets a little bit weird. It's not very well articulated at all. And the arrow just fell. But the head is on a ball peg, and it's really, really tight on there. It's hard to get off. Oh, I just lost that going behind there. But there you see the ball peg. Let me see if I can find that piece that just fell. Yep, got it. But the head is just on a ball peg, but it doesn't really give a lot of movement when the head is on there. Let me just put the other mask on, the mask head on, show you what that looks like, because I think it looks pretty good actually. Again, really, really tough getting these things on there. There it goes. See, I think that looks good. So I'm definitely probably going to be displaying him like this and not in the unmasked version. But you don't really get any movement. You get a little bit of down, get a little bit of up. Of course, you do get, side to side all the way around. There is really no, you get a little bit of tilt to the right. Not so much to the left. It'll go to the right. It will not go to the left as much. Or it'll go to the left, not go to the right as much. The arms come out almost horizontal. Of course, they go all the way around. Now here's the weird thing. Out of the package, this arm was turned around. It was like facing, I'll show you, it was facing like this in the package. So, you see that? So I had to turn it around and kind of line it up with the seam line in there. I'm just trying to see it. I can't even see it on here. But I mean, you just have a single jointed elbow there, and it does not give you a lot of range at all. Like not even 90 degrees. And it does, of course, you know, swivel back and forth. And the hands, of course, swivel, hinge a very tiny little bit. Not at all. And I don't know if that's because the sculpt, it's probably because the peg is just too far in there. Pull it out a little bit. You get a little bit more hinge in it, but there is a hinge in there. It just doesn't work very well. You got this cut in the upper torso, which allows it to turn, but you feel like you're going to break it when you do that. So it does turn. It does not really, it crunches a little tiny bit forward, a little bit back. But that's about it. I mean, and you do, okay, you do get some side, and you do get some side. So you do get a little bit of pivot back and forth. There is no waist cut at all, so you know that movement has to come up here as far as turning them. And then for the legs, that's all you get split wise. They come up about that far, go back, you know, pretty much all the way. It's kind of crazy. And it doesn't look that bad, but you do get a swivel, an upper thigh swivel, which is a little bit loose. I'm always finding I'm having to like line it back up with that. Now the knee is a double knee, but it is a ugly double knee. Look at this thing. If I can even get them both. That is a double knee, and that is one of the ugliest double knees I have seen in a long time. It just looks really bad. But I mean, you do get the range out of it, but just very ugly looking double knee. You do get, you know, a boot swivel. You do get a hinge at the foot that brings it back a good little bit, forward a nice little bit, and there is a pivot, but it's more of a swivel. It just kind of swivels and kicks it into that pivot. Then it, you know, you can pretty much take that and go all the way around. So it's not so much of a pivot as it is a swivel. But that's the Flash. So I mean, you know, I think its overall look is decent looking, but as far as getting them into some really cool poses, I seriously doubt that's going to happen, just because of, as you see, these hands are really tough to get out of the Flash. It wasn't that bad with the Green Arrow, but let's put some other hands on them and see. Just knock something off the table there. Let's put these hands on them and see what these look like. His running hands. Okay, so the hands go on pretty decent, but let's say we want to get him into a bit of a running pose. It was kind of neat that you could get his foot way back like that. So I mean, you know, I don't know. It's not too bad. He's going to need to stand. There's no way he's going to be able to balance. And you can't get the head to look up, so you know, that's kind of disappointing. Let's see if we can get him to balance on himself. Probably not. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I mean, you know, your posing is a little bit limited. But I mean, I do like the look of the figure. I do think it's got nice paint, nice sculpt. It's got a good height to it. The joints, like I said, are very loose thigh swivel. Very loose, you know, detents in that double jointed knee. But he does stand okay on his own. Now that I'm saying that, look, he's not going to stand. Let me get a measurement here. And he is about almost like 6.5 inches. the top of his head, just about something like that. So that is the Flash. Let's take a look at the Green Arrow. Now the Green Arrow I thought was a much better figure overall. You get a little bit more range of movement with him, but not, I mean, it's not that much more. But as you see, looking over, he's got a nice head. This hood part is a softer plastic, so you can, it doesn't come off, but you can pull it off to kind of see his head sculpt. Not a bad head sculpt. And the hood does look good when it's like over him, but it does, of course, you know, hinder any kind of movement. You don't get a lot of movement out of that head. But coming down to the outfit, I do like the outfit. I like the sculpt. I like the paint a little bit to black. And I like how they, you know, did put silver in on all these buttons right here. That looks pretty cool. And going down, you see he's got like some, I guess those are like little arrows or something in a pocket there, but those are all sculpted in. Get this nice black and all these like sculpted wrinkles, the knee pads. The boots look really cool. You even have little sculpted laces on there, a little bit of green highlights in it. Like I said, I do like the sculpt. You got these nice painted silver pieces over here. You get this backpack, which does not come off. It's on there, glued on there. But it's nice because you can put his little arrows in there. And then coming around, you see, I mean, you know, it's just kind of these molded fake kind of straps and everything like that. Back around to the back of the figure. He does have some nice painted gauntlets that kind of continue that down onto the hands. Now the greens throw me off a little bit because the top of the color green, this and this match each other, but it doesn't match the rest of the green. I don't know if that's, you know, accurate. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be in the show, but there is a different tint to the green to the hood and his backpack than it is to the green that's on the suit. So it just kind of throws it off a little bit. It's not horrible, but just a little bit. Now as far as his articulation, like I said, the head is very limited just because of this sculpted soft rubber mask. I mean, the head is on a ball peg. You could turn it all the way around, but it's just not going to go very much because of that. You get a little tiny bit of up, little tiny bit of down. The arms, because of the shoulder pad, it kind of stops it right there, so you're only going to get that far up. Of course, they'll go all the way around. There is no bicep swivel in this guy. He just has a swivel at the elbow. And then you have this single hinge elbow that gives you, that's it. I mean, that is all the range you get with that single joint, not even 90 degrees. So that's a little disappointing. His upper ab, or his upper torso, is a lot better than the Flash's. I mean, it gives you a lot more movement. Not much back, not much forward. Well, you get a little bit forward, as you can see. A little bit back, you know, but it's not as tight as the Flash's was. Again, there's no cut, so there's no waist twist. He gets a lot better movement in his legs out. Not much up, only about that much. Not really much back. You can force it to go back a little bit. There is no upper thigh cut. You get double jointed knees that, you know, don't go back all the way, but look much better than Flash's did. And there is no swivel at the boot. You get a hinge at the bottom, brings his foot back that far, brings it up about like that, and there's no pivot or swivel, so that's disappointing. And like I said, I mean, as far as the bow, I mean, I messed around with this figure for a while and I could not get any, I mean, you're not going to get him in a pose where he's shooting an arrow, and that's really unfortunate because, I mean, you need that with this figure. You definitely need that with this figure. I mean, you can get the bow in his hand pretty good. And you know, this string will come back, but the articulation is just not there. I mean, that's about as much as you're gonna get, and that just looks silly, and you can't even get his head to really look. And if you bring this back, the only way I was able to do it is to turn his hand around like completely the other way, just so this string will, you know, so he'll hold it like that. And then let's say you wanted to put a arrow in there. I mean, you're just gonna have to kind of like fudge it, just balance it like that, and that just, you know, it looks warped and all silly. Now I guess these arrows can be pegged in here. I don't know if looks like there's like a little bit of a slit in there to where you might be able to put one of these arrows in there. But so I mean, unfortunately, it's just you don't really get the posing options that you want, but you do get some pretty aesthetically pleasing figures with the 2-pack. So I'm not 100% disappointed. This is my first green arrow that I get in this you know, 6-inch line, and the Flash in this costume. So I mean, I'm okay with it. I wouldn't say it's worth the price point, because you're paying a little bit more than $20 a figure, you know, for these. And I think the normal DC collectible figures are around that, a little bit more than $20 a piece. But I mean, you get some decent accessories. You get the unmasked head. Like I said, you get the bow, even though you can't get him in any decent poses. Not the worst figures in the world, not the best figures. I mean, I would pretty much take your pick of which one you like better, maybe get them singly, because you're not saving too much money really buying the 2-pack. But that's the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it you know, gave you a little better insight onto whether or not you do want to pick these guys up or not. And I will see you guys on the next review. Peace.